Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, February 6, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future though in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the United States Climate Prediction Center's Global Tropics Hazards Outlook. We're going to be looking at the time period from February 14 to February 20 and February 21 to February 27. So first, just focus our attention on the Western Atlantic, and we can see that for the time period February 14 to February 20, we're actually seeing that we're going to be having a lot of browns across portions of the Caribbean and the main development region. And we can see that from the key at the bottom, that's representative of below average rainfall. So that's kind of in a consensus with what the models are projecting or predicting for the month of February, the maps that we were looking at the end of January, that is. And as it relates to what's being shown for February 21 to February 27, still some below average rainfall across the Eastern Caribbean. Normal rainfall, however, across portions of the Greater Antilles, including Jamaica, with some slight rainfall probability right there across the Northern Caribbean, the Bahamas, Florida, the Gulf of Mexico. We'll see exactly what unfolds as time goes on. We know these maps from the CPC can be, it's not set in stone, so we have to just pay close attention to the weather. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that broad airflow pressure right there off the southeast coast of the United States, and that was what spawned the cold front that we've been affected by across Jamaica from Monday up to now. And we can also see that it has induced a trough into portions of the Bahamas, Cuba and the Cayman Islands. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds spinning away right there off the southeast coast of the United States associated with that low pressure. And we can see the clouds associated with that cold front across portions of the central and eastern Caribbean. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, February 6th. It was stated that on Bob Marley's birthday, we would receive some very windy and cool conditions, and it was these windy conditions that brought about a lot of high tides across sections of especially western and northern Jamaica. We saw the video clips, we saw the news. It's terrible down there. So we saw the storm surge that the winds kicked up, and we spoke about this in yesterday's video with the high waves brought about by the strong winds. But that's just about it for that cold front in terms of the high tides. But we could still get in on some more windy conditions, not as strong as what we got today, however. And the temperatures are definitely going to be falling. We're going to be noticing the temperature change tonight into tomorrow for sure. So we can see that even the post that was made on our Twitter page, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876, our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, and TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, not to mention our YouTube page right here. We can see a post is made at 3:35 p.m. highlighting the clouds coming in from the west. We're not used to this. We're used to the clouds coming in from the east, and we indeed had those clouds coming into sections of western Jamaica, bringing isolated showers to sections of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne getting in on some of the action with that very strong wind coming in from the west. So, western parishes, we're talking about St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, and some northern parishes getting into some of that. So, our northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland, and it indeed did a number on St. Mary as well. And we indeed have some confirmation from our followers on our Facebook page. Kemoy stating having rain now in Mandeville, that was 2 hours ago. Amanda stating very windy, and there was a little rain in St. Mary, that was 3 hours ago. Fiona, windy and rain, place cold like ice. Then on our Instagram page, we had commenters confirming the weather. Tweety underscore Mo stating, enjoying this weather, give thanks or praise. We have Portmore Bell underscore Nas stating, the sea in Portland is very rough today when I passed through. Then we had Hot Diva 114 stating sunny and slightly windy in Portmore. Miss Boss Babe promos, Mobile rain up and down from morning. Rayon strong wind and rain Hanover. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we still had those clouds coming into sections of western Jamaica to wrap up the day. And tomorrow is definitely going to be shifting more so from a northerly kind of fashion. Today was more so from the west, now it's starting to shift towards the northwest. Then from the north on Wednesday. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we can see some of those greens. We know the greens on the key on the right represent some amount of light to moderate rainfall. And we do see that we have some rainfall still affecting sections of some northern parishes. So definitely sections of St. Anne, maybe sections of St. Mary, earlier in Hanover and St. James. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And I want for you to keep in mind that these temperatures aren't 100% accurate, so it could be lower than what it is actually is right now. However, as we can see, for 3 a.m. on Wednesday, temperatures should be dropping down. Look at that 16 degrees Celsius in Mandeville. It could be even colder than that. Montego Bay 23 degrees Celsius. I think there's a bias across northwestern Jamaica in terms of the temperatures. But look at Kingston 19 degrees Celsius, Morant Bay 18 degrees Celsius. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Either way, this is quite concerning. Look at all of those greens across Jamaica that represent 5 to 6, even close to 7 degrees Celsius below normal temperatures. And this is valid from the GFS for 18th on Wednesday. That's actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we're going to be getting in on those very cooler than average temperatures. We're not used to this kind of weather. We're definitely gonna be, experiencing it tomorrow. You might see some person standing in the sun to, take away from the cooler temperatures that are affecting them. Lots of sweaters are gonna be worn on Wednesday. And we're indeed grateful for this. We know that for the month of February across Jamaica, we usually receive an average temperature of 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from, let's say, 23 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperatures on Wednesday. As relates to the dry air map, we can see that the dry air is represented by the yellows, oranges, and reds by the key at the bottom. And we do see a lot of dry air coming in from the north and the west into portion of Jamaica, as represented by those yellows and oranges. Excuse me. And we can also see that dry air across sections of the main development region. But all of that has to do with the Saharan dust. This is the map showing the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday. And we do see that Jamaica should be in the clear. We don't have the browns that represent the Saharan dust right there, but all the dust should be across portion of the main development region, and it's not going to be making it into the area that Jamaica is located at all. Let us briefly look at the sea surface temperature forecast, or what the sea surface temperatures are right now. We know anything that's not white is either above or below average. You know, the below average are represented by the blues, the above average represented by the yellows, oranges, and reds. And we can actually start to see the El Nino, where the waters are warm across portions of the central to eastern Pacific. We can see that the El Nino is actually dying down. We're getting more in the way of yellows, excuse me, and some slight oranges. We used to have some reds earlier in the year, but we can see that it's actually dying down. And not to mention, we can see all of the above normal temperatures still across portions of the main development region, the latitude that the Caribbean is in especially. And we have cooler than average temperatures, water temperatures, that is to the north. So this is quite concerning for hurricane season if this trend continues, as well as if all of this flips and turns into a lot of below average water temperatures and we know what that means. Possible La Nina, where we have more rising air across the Atlantic and more sinking air across the Pacific, so in turn bringing more storms. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we can actually see that the sea surface temperatures have been dying down. As it relates to the tropical cyclone heat potential, this map is showing what the waters are like with depth, and we can see that yes, we have the warm water, the warmest waters, as we go deeper into the sea across the Caribbean, stretching from the eastern Caribbean to the western Caribbean. We know how these things go. It's usually around the central to the western Caribbean where we have the warmest waters, and we can see that as of 5 p.m. last Thursday, this was what the tropical cyclone heat potential was showing. Either way, we know these things go. If we have any form of hurricane up in the hurricane season to churn up the waters, we're going to be pulling more warm waters to the surface, and in turn possibly causing more rapid intensification in terms of the hurricane strength. So this is quite concerning that we have such high heat potential in the Caribbean this early in the season, and we know as time gets on it's gonna be getting even more intense. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we do see that we're not gonna be getting something like what we had today with all of those close to burgundy colors. The Euro is showing for Wednesday some purples to the north and west of the island, more so blues across the east and south that represent 1.5 meter wave heights or less. And we can see that the GF is a bit less robust, and that's because the winds are gonna be somewhat strong but not that strong as what we got today, coming in from the northwest for tomorrow, averaging anywhere from, let's say, 15 to 20 knots, maybe gusting to some 25 knots wherever we see those yellow colors, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And we know what usually happens when we have that moist northerly flow. We have that relief rainfall because all of the winds are coming in from the north, coming in on the north coast right here. Then as usual, the air rises and forces moisture into the air. Then we have those clouds getting heavy, and then all of that condensation results in more rainfall across the northern portion of the island. Then we have that rain shadow on the southern portion of the island with little to no rainfall. So we're definitely going to be in for some more rainfall across section of northern parishes for Wednesday. And we do see the precipitation maps already confirming this. This is valid for 2 a.m. on a Wednesday, that's later tonight. And we do see both the Euro and the GFS smalls are showing that there should be some blues that represent rainfall across northern Jamaica. So definitely a section of Trelawney, St. Anne on the GFS, something similar on the Euro. Skipping ahead to about 6 a.m., we start to see it be a bit more widespread across northern Jamaica, incorporating sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, into some of that rainfall at 6 a.m. So if you're going to be commuting at that time, ensure that you have your rain gear, your umbrella, whatever the case may be. Then by about 9 a.m. we still see much of the same. Blues that represent rainfall across northern Jamaica with all of that relief rainfall, even across northeastern Jamaica on the Euro. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing that from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday, not saying that it's going to be raining all the way up until then, but between the next 24 hours, between that time period, northern Jamaica is going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. So we can see the Euro showing up to 0.21 of an inch of rainfall at most. Not so much rainfall like what we had on Monday. GFS is a bit less robust, up to 0.11 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're in the month of February. We usually receive up to 65.4 millimeters of rainfall, and I'm pretty sure that with yesterday's rainfall and today's rainfall combined, we've already exceeded that in some spots, and we're indeed grateful for that, considering that this is the dry season. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's just focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see that yes, we have a lot of activities taking place across the Bahamas, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, the ABC Islands. We can see a lot of activities taking place across sections of Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, especially getting hammered as we speak, Anguilla, sections of St. Kitts and Nevis getting in on the action as well. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, it is quite interesting. If these images are gonna load, let me see if they load. Okay, here we go. So we know the greens represent light to moderate rainfall, the yellows, oranges, and reds represent some amount of moderate to heavy rainfall. And we do see that rainfall across sections of western and eastern Puerto Rico, not to mention sections of the US and British Virgin Islands with all of that squall line. They're definitely getting nailed as we speak. And some of this could spill into sections of Anguilla, St. Martin tonight as well. As it relates to the Barbados radar, we don't see much taking place across Barbados or the islands around there at all, but we do see some hit or miss isolated passing showers as represented by those blues and greens to the south of Barbados, affecting sections of Tobago right now, sections of St. Vincent later on tonight, St. Lucia, Martinique getting in on the action. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we see that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of Puerto Rico. We also see some rainfall across sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, as well as Colombia. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18 on Wednesday. That's actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we do see that we still have some amount of above normal temperatures to experience across sections of the ABC Islands, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, majority of the Eastern Caribbean, as well as sections of Puerto Rico. While the below average temperature should be anywhere from Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, Jamaica, especially the Cayman Islands are going to be getting in on the coolest weather tomorrow, where we see those whites within those greens that represent up to 7 degrees Celsius below normal temperatures. Sections of northwestern South America, so northern Colombia, sections of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, sections of Belize, Guatemala, as well as sections of Mexico should be getting on those below average temperatures. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we do see that we have those browns that represent the Saharan dust across sections of the Eastern Caribbean, section of the ABC Islands as well. But all of that is turning with that southerly flow brought about by that high pressure as well as the low pressure system. All of the dust is actually turning towards the north, so it won't be making its way to the west at all, especially with the winds coming in from the north and pushing everything back to that direction. All of the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be at bay across the main development region, and we hope that it stays that way. As relates to the wave forecast, we do see that for Wednesday, majority of the burgundy colors that include anywhere from 3 meter wave heights to 6 meter wave heights should be affecting section of the Bahamas, the waters to the east of Florida, not to mention some purples that represent up to 2 meter wave heights across the waters of the central and western Caribbean, as well as portions of the northern portions of the northeastern Caribbean. And that's because the winds are going to be strongest where the waves are highest. It makes sense, averaging anywhere from 25 to 30 to even 40 knots across the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. While wherever we have the greens and the light patches of yellows, we're going to be getting anywhere from 15 to 20, gusting to 25 knots at most. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. However, as it relates to the rainfall forecast, we do see that for the most part, the heaviest rainfall is going to be expected across the northeastern Caribbean. So if they're not already getting the rainfall right now, like what we just saw on the satellite images and Doppler radar images, they're definitely going to be getting in on some more within the next 24 hours. Keep in mind that this map is showing that it's going to be ending by 3 on Thursday. When we calculate that, that's 10 p.m. on Wednesday, sorry. We do see all of this rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday across sections of Puerto Rico, sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, sections of Guadeloupe could get in on the action as well. Maybe Dominica on the GFS, showing Dominica not so much on the Euro, but Martinique's sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados should be in for not much action at all. While we do see some rainfall More so isolated pockets of rainfall across sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, sections of Venezuela. The ABC Islands definitely going to be getting wet tomorrow. If not now, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica getting in on the action, as well as sections of coastal areas of Honduras, as well as sections of the Bahamas. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.